Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to the second hour of Lovebabz Lovetalk. Woo, our favorite in-house spiritual person, Enroue. Halfkenny is with us today. Onigbonna, right? Did I say that? Onigbonna?
No,
Onigbonna?
but it's
Onigbonna?
Onigbonna. Onigbonna.
Onigbonna?
Uh-huh.
Okay, Onigbonna. Our favorite Onigbonna is in the house. Our resident, who's going to be with us twice a month, which is
Yes.
what we need. Lord have mercy, we need it. How are you?
Good.
You good?
I'm good.
The
Yeah.
world is crazy and upside down, but it has been for forever.
Yes. Yes. There is always there has there has been over lots of time, lots of chaos and turmoil. And right, we just keep turning, right?
they, they do.
Yeah. Right. And this here we are in the
Amazingly so.
spring, right? In New England, things coming alive, right? As after the quieting of the winter, right? The emergence of life, the buds, leaves are starting to open. Yeah, it's all
Is that a
happening.
good way for us to sort of focus ourselves that we can always hold on to the changing of the season? Well, in New England, we can hold on to the changing of the seasons.
Well, it to me the changing of the seasons is just a really clear reminder of life and cycles and change being just fundamental. Everything is changing. That's kind of the nature of life. We're not the same when we woke up this morning for now, right? There's subtle and not so subtle changes, right? Certainly look over time, we're not the same. Nothing is the same. Yet there's a stability in that. Like there's still a stability in life, in the seasons. Oh, spring, summer, fall, winter, spring, people getting born, people living, people dying. Navigating that is the tricky part. That's the difficult. That's the part that um, challenges are, but also where the beauty is, right? Where the love is, where the tenderness is, where hope and purpose and meaning. So, shall we start with a welcoming of our ancestors?
Absolutely, I live for that. I'm sorry I got us off. I got us off the tangent of into spring and centering
It,
ourselves. But
it is.
yes, let us bring the good word.
So, if folks want to just in the ways that works for them, have a little openness to welcome those ancestors who we have who want to give us the love and support that we need, right? So we can just be open to those of our lineage without making it too complicated right now. Always complexity in our lineages and our ancestry, but we can also just kind of rest in some of the ease that can come to us, through us, from them. So we'll start off with this Yoruba ancestor chant, thanking them for what they give to us and letting them know these things, embodying these things, these gifts, these. Ba ba tó fún wa ṣe o. Ba tó fún wa ṣe. Ba tó fún wa ṣe o. Ba tó fún wa ṣe. Àṣẹ tẹ̀ fún wa ńlá lóyè o. Ba tó fún. Ayẹyẹ tó fún wa ṣe o. Ayẹyẹ tó fún. Ayẹyẹ tó fún wa ṣe o. Ayẹyẹ tó fún wa. Àṣẹ tẹ̀ fún wa ńlá lóyè o. Ayẹyẹ tó fún. Egungun tó fún wa ṣe o. Egungun tó fún wa ṣe. Egungun tó fún wa ṣe o. Egungun tó fún wa. Ashete fuan lan lo iu. Aigun tofu was. Aigun tofu. Aigun tofu was. Che.
Ashe. I always feel so grounded.
That's the point. That's the point, right?
Yes. Yes. Because you can easily get caught up in the day and not and not to, and I always feel grounded, I always feel rooted. But you can get caught up in the here to there, fast, 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 and just be like, "Ooh, I feel a little overextended, or I feel a little bit overwhelmed."
Yeah.
And I don't say that in a stressful way. Just the nature of what we do sometimes just calls our attention to 50 million different
There's a
directions.
whole culture encouraging us to function in that way. It's not
Yeah.
just because, like, as a person, right? There's infrastructure geared towards, okay, what are you doing? Oh yeah, what are you doing? And now what? What are you doing? Are you doing what you should be doing? Are your wheels turning? Are you going? Where do you gotta go? You gotta go somewhere. That's the hum. That's the hum that accompanies us when we wake up in this culture that we're in, right? In this society. Or that's one of the hums that's there. And it's challenging to, right, in this, what do we choose to ground ourselves in? So what if we had a little bit more agency to choose what we grounded ourselves in to then be in the day, right? Be in the changes of life, even as we started off, right? There's a lot of activity, change, a lot of transformation. That's life. A lot of comings and goings and births and decay and death and renewal. It's a lot of that. Liberation, right? We have these big, so this spring, it's emergence of it, at least the way it shows up here in the Northeast, right? This emergence of life pushing through the thawing soil, right? Sap running, right? Things kind of emerging, leaves unfurling, flowers poking up, things that have been hibernating coming up, right? That's that energy. And then we also have Easter's coming up. So we have this, I'm not a Christian by faith, but it's in the air and the water, right? So like here's this resurrection and renewal that's happening, right? Even among those of that faith. In Judaism, you have Passover and its liberation story, it's freeing from bondage and escaping slavery to find your way through the desert to be a people, right? So this time of renewal. And so what do we ground ourselves in as all the changes, all the transformations are happening? Because they're not easy, right? The seed, the seed dies, right? The seed is no longer a seed as it grows to be a seedling, right? As it emerges, it's becoming something else. So the old thing is left, is being shed. So can we ground ourselves so that there is support in that transformation? Liberation, resurrection, springing that, oh, here we are in our lives.
I like that. That's a good message for this time of year.
It's what's happening.
Yes.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, can we open to that, right? Can we let ourselves recognize our connection to what is already happening and find ground and find strength and guidance in what is actually already happening, instead of like, no, I want it to be this other thing, and why isn't it something else? I want to be something else.
Oh, that's a heavy thing. To letting go of the wanting something to be the other thing, as opposed to, well, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Embrace can you at least try to embrace what is happening? That's very difficult for people.
Or even be present with it. So like, I think embrace is a tricky thing because it can feel like oh, here's this painful thing. I have to embrace the pain and just like accept. Well, no, but like start with being present to it, and then you can move from a place of skillfulness. You're not even present with what's actually happening. How is anything that you're doing from that place gonna work? Not gonna be a support for it, right? So at least like, oh, this is what's happening. Oh, okay. Be with what's happening, and then address it, right? Or move from it, or embrace it, or encourage it, or soak it in, or push it away, or step around it, but you got to start. What's
Yeah.
even going on?
And I find in my own everyday practical life when I am present with things, they seem less fearful than when I used to be like worried about the worst possible thing. You know what I mean? Like I would worry about the worst possible outcome. And that would be me looking down the road from it rather than, wait, how about this? How about if I just pay attention to what is happening right now
Yeah.
and not project or conjure up what I think might happen down the
What
road?
you might be afraid of might happen.
Or what I might be afraid of. Yes.
Yeah.
That I think for me, Enroue, and for most people, I think that's where people get tripped up, that they're not present with it, and all they know is, oh my God, the outcome. I'm thinking about the possibility of the worst possible outcome.
Right. And what that then happens is, since we're not being present with what actually is, right? We're lost in a story of what we're afraid might be, which means we're we're not even actually preparing for the thing, really, right? We're just like flooded with a what if, right? The kind of fearful what if. Um, and I just really invite people, okay, so what's happening? Being present doesn't mean you don't think about the future. If you think about a farmer, you got to be present with what is, right? You have to plant now, right, for the harvest, but you can't worry about the harvest now. Like you have to like plant now. You plan for it. Okay, we're gonna plan for this, and be like, the action is the planting now. The action is not the worry, because then
Right.
you won't plant.
Right. Oh my God. The
Right?
crops are not gonna grow. I'm not gonna have
What
enough.
if?
We're gonna starve. We're gonna lose the farm. We're gonna like,
Right?
okay, can we
What
just
if?
start
What
with
if? What if? What
planting?
if? Yeah.
Get the seeds in
Okay.
the ground, see what happens.
Maybe. And I got to plant now. Because if I get lost in the worry, I won't plant now, and then the worst thing will actually happen, right? Because like I haven't even planted. Like it's maybe not even the worst thing, because the worst thing might be a failed crop. Well, you're not even going to get a failed crop. You're just not going to have one. You're not planting.
Right.
And to remember, what's happening in the present is anxiety, is worry, is overwhelm, and the voice of that is what you're listening to. So again, if we talk about what is the ground that we're starting with, what if the ground that you're starting with is not the voice of anxiety? Like, oh, anxiety's got this to tell me. Okay, right. What if it's gonna fail? And oh yeah, and then there's like overwhelm in there, and I got no capacity, I can't do it. And then maybe there's like self-doubt thrown in there, right? So those are those voices that are like over here. So what am I gonna ground myself in that gives me a counter voice to lean on? Oh, it's what a beautiful day. You know, I think I'm gonna go for a walk, or like I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna greet the people who I care about, and just tell them that I love them. What is the counter to and not just like what is the counter voice that's about success, but again, if we talk about that, that ancestor chant is, thank you for these blessings, this ashe that you've given to me, and I'm using it. I'm using my capacity, I'm using my skills, I'm using the way that I sense life and reality. I can build a thing, right? I can express a thing. I can feel, I can hold, I can cook, I can walk, I can teach, I can love. Investigating what are those blessings? What are those things? What's that ashe that is passed down? Have I investigated that? If I haven't, then all that's left is the noise, is the right, is that humming of not enough, of you gotta you gotta show up in this way to be valuable, versus like actually you are just fundamentally valuable, and you got a whole line of people who are ready to just cheer you on and say, oh yeah, you're a person. You are like a full person with meaning and with a purpose and with skills and ability, and let's explore that. And what does it mean to embody that as you are in your life, right? As you care for those who you care for, as you try to make a living, as you try to have some stay connected to even like what wonder is, what is wonder and mystery of life, versus like I want it, it's got to be this way. Oh, it is happening in the spring. It's not a transition season. It's actually its own thing.
I like that. That's a wonderful way to think about that.
Again, especially here in New England, it is what we have a spring that is a full season. We got a summer that's a full season. We got a fall and autumn that's a full season. We got winter that's a full. They're not. I mean, we wouldn't say summer is the transition between spring and fall, right? And somehow summer is the like a one stable thing. Right? They're all in a particularly here the spectrum of change, of temperature, of what comes alive, or what passes on. And again, so can we wake up and like be with ourselves? And I'm not saying that's easy, right? Because if we've had a lot of things that are painful, being with ourselves can be very difficult. But again, there's an invitation of what would it mean to be able to address what is actually happening? Can I have some love and compassion for myself about what is actually happening? Can I build structures? Or can I be grounded in the supports so that I can be with what is happening?
I like that. That's I like that. I'm telling you, this is the right frame of mind to be in as we are in this Holy Week, what Christians call the Holy Week, and what Jewish folks lead up to Passover. It just seems the right sort of way to sort of think about not just and spring and Holy Week and Passover and all the other things.
Isn't it Ramadan also?
And Ramadan, yes, and Lent. It's still Lent. So yeah.
So it's a time of, and in all of these, like our relationships with God, the divine, these forces larger than us that we can seek to be in right relationship with, right? All of these ways, like there are all these traditions doing it differently, and there are different seasons for those traditions to do it, but there's a happening and a connection. And even if you ever are in a tradition or don't have a tradition, can you be open just in the present, like now, right now, like, oh, what can I be open and connected to? What can inform me? What is greater than me that can inform me specific ways to live my life? Not just the general, like, be a good person, right? That's wonderful. And like what that means for me, what that means for you, what it means to be connected to the people I love and care about, the things I love and care about, my own sense of meaning and purpose is different for everybody. But can you be open to what life has, how life can still support us, even in the challenges, to be connected to the specifics of, oh, my life. It's an interesting thing of our lives are central and super important, and in the span of like universal time, like our individual lives and existence are like not even a hiccup and yet they're also central. So can we
Yeah.
kind of move back and forth, right, in that relationship with this existence that is greater than us? What does it mean to be a person? What does it then mean to just be alive? And oh yeah, I got to get up and I got to grocery shopping. I hold those together. Can I ground in that? Can I ground in that? Oh, there's more to life, possibility. We're alive, then there's possibility. And that's also like to harken back, right? This piece on our ancestors, like they were alive. So now we can feel into and practice into the support. Oh yeah, they
Mm.
know what it's like to be a person in this life and the struggles and the joys and all the things. Can I lean into that? Be open to that? Can I be open to receive blessings, support, and love?
That's
That's
quite
the
comforting.
invitation.
That's quite comforting on a lot of levels. That's quite comforting. I like that. I like that, you tied it all the way back around to the ancestors and that they knew what it was like to be alive, you know. And I don't think we think about that when they pass. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think we think, "Oh yes, they used to be alive." And so we can we can
Well,
benefit from those blessings.
that's because that viewpoint, right, has been kind of explicitly, I mean, particular, being here in the African diaspora in the United States, and because institutions of slavery and of pulling us into, right, what grounds us differently, right? There are different things that ground us, right? So consumer culture is what grounds us, right? This the notions of having to kind of keep moving, right? Those the negative part of that hum and those wheels churning, like that's actually by default what grounds us unless we return to these other ways of thinking and understanding our place. And so an indigenous way of thinking is like, oh right, our ancestors, our relationship with them changes. We're not, this isn't grandma and grandpa that I'm visiting now, right, in the flesh and holding and loving and, in relationship with them. It's like, oh, and it still continues in a different way. And so there's a different kind of support and practices to do that. That's been, that's that kind of way of thinking in general is under assault. When we can remember that and say, oh, I actually, that's again, we get to that ground. Like there's a way of being in the world that's intimately connected to me, where I come from, that can also continue to be intimately connected with how I'm living my life. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to be free, and I'm trying to be good, and I'm trying to be healthy, and I'm trying to well and navigate the complexities of life anyway. Add on layers of culture and systems and this oppressive system coming this way and this is holding some people up over here, and like that adds complexity and trauma and all the things, right, adds complexity. And so where's that ground that's just like, I'm here, we're here for you, just trying to do our best. That I think is an important remembering for us. It's been it's a transformative practice, and it comes from traditions, and it comes from, right, the ways that our, as we, depending on who they were, ways that our ancestors understood. Oh yeah, gotta honor where we come from. These are our people, not the ancestors in the abstract.
Mm, I like that. And I'm finding that people are looking for that very kind of connection and that very kind of return to what has been lost. I see it that people are looking for connection to something that was lost particularly in the Atlantic slave trade, that who were we? Where did we come from?
Hmm.
What were we practicing?
Hmm.
What was sustaining that kind of
Hmm.
stuff? And just really taking a long look at uh, how do we marry those long lost traditions with what we have gained here over the generations. How do we
Hmm.
marry those things? How do
Hmm.
we, because I don't know if we can divorce them totally, and so you just marry them because they are as much a part of you as anything. So, but there is a desire for an more, an other, in addition to.
Yeah. What it makes me think of is there's a poem or an excerpt from a poem or a quote by this poet, Basho, which says, "Don't walk in the footsteps of your ancestors, but seek what they sought." So we have, there are certainly aspects of the tools that were used then, right? Even this perspective of maintaining and deepening a relationship with our ancestors, right? That's a tool. That's a these kind of ancient tools and ancient perspectives. And how do we do that literally today, right? It's not about becoming them. Oh, I got to go and do the exact and live the way, and that's the answer, right? That's what I hear in that kind of marrying is, right? And what would it mean for me to, from my heart, reach out to either a known or a not known ancestor who feel some support with, ask some questions, or just say that I need some help, or let me voice my longing, desire for that felt support relationship. And I would encourage people to, there's certainly some traditions that are still alive, like the Yoruba tradition, like that's still alive. But um, there are many in the multitudes of African traditions, right? There are many that have been lost due to colonization, right? To colonialism and destruction. Those very same indigenous cultures, and it holds something. Those technologies hold that longing, right? Where, not just where do I come from, like the place, right? Oh, because some people are mapping that out, right? Some more accurate than others, right? People doing kind of DNA stuff, and there's some aspects of that can give some clues, but it's not comprehensive, right? There's genealogy stuff, and like that can go so far, but that again is also not comprehensive. So these spiritual traditions hold a different avenue. Again, not everything, but they become a different avenue to, can I find my way through me in relationship to my people? Can I find my way to them? And it may be a really simplified practice, fundamentally, as we talk about change, right? Kind of life is change and transformation. And so we have to create the peace that we really want, right? We ground ourselves. What are we grounding ourselves in, right? It's going to change. And then, oh, how do we adjust? The ground isn't like poured concrete that just has to be firm. Sometimes the ground is it's shifting and soft. And how do we learn to dance on? Sometimes it's a little firmer. What's going on? And so the fundamental way of creating that peace is we make offerings, right? So we give something to nourish those relationships. Sometimes that's we give our time, just like with people. Make offerings of food or items that have importance to us. We can, people bringing flowers to gravestones. That's an offering
Mm-hmm.
to your loved ones. So these are ways that these technologies have carried through, but they've also been um, there's less explicitness in, oh yes, do this to maintain and go into this relationship, not just a here's this and I'm sad you're gone, but it's, oh, this is what's happening, right? This is what's happening in my life and I need some support, or I'm struggling with this, and what is the kind of collective wisdom that comes through us to help us navigate losing a job, having a baby, losing a baby, finding a loved one, losing a loved one, waking up grumpy. Right? And so there's a giving, and then there's a speaking, right? That's like our prayers, and they can be songs, right? And then there's listening. Can we listen? Can we receive? And for each person, that's different. But even just as a basic thing, right? There's a giving, there's a speaking, there's a listening, right? And to do it in a way that feels relevant and connected, right? And so it's a process itself to like even connect with like what our hearts want, right? Because so many of us for much of the time are really shut off from that and really disconnected to that and not encouraged to strengthen that connection of what's in me, what are my yearnings, what's in my heart, and I start to articulate that. It's its own part of a practice. As we do that, because if you can't articulate it or can't touch it, how can that need be met? Am I getting the thing I really want? Are you connected to the thing you really want? No. Are you? Because it takes courage, right? Because there's so much going on. There are things to do. You gotta show. Where's the little pauses, right? Grounding ourselves in the thing, the pause. Thank you for what you've passed on to me today. Pause and like it means I have to be connected to even what is coming through. And then I'd be connected, like, can I activate that? Can I embody that? Can I be with that? And be in the world with that kind of support, right? With these voices, with these feelings, instead of just the, oh, but what if? Oh, I don't know if you can do that. You better just push on, just put your head right. We're used to listening to those voices. Well, can we start to cultivate a practice bit by bit, gentle, little by little? Doesn't have to be like, okay, I have to do the whole retreat. It's like, oh, in a moment, can you pause in between things? Oh, good day. Okay, it's a day. My allergies might be kicking in. It might be rainy. It might be sunny. But here I am. So there's some possibility. Keep going into that place. Reaching out and embodying that yourself from that place.
I like that. Oh, such a good day. Such a good day when you come. Even Harry is like when Enroue comes.
Oh, thanks, Harry.
It gets us rooted and settled and calm.
And I know he was skeptical when I was first coming.
Oh, I know. He was. Now you got like a little following of folks who are like, when is Enroue coming on? They just sit and listen, turn off things and we move on. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes. Enroue is regular, y'all. Regular.
And I'll say this as I often do. People have other questions or want to learn a little bit more or specifically to the person, how they really engage in these practices. Because we all have ancestors, right? Regardless of like how we understand or express our religiosity or spirituality, we all have ancestors. Yes, this comes from a certain perspective and from a specific religious and cultural perspective. Finding our way to our people is a really powerful, healing, transformative, creating practice. So if people have questions or desires to learn more, feel free to reach out. Enroue, ENROUE at healingandliberation.com.
I like that.
Feel free.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Have a great
We'll
day.
see you in 2 weeks. I'm gonna go and check out this day.
Yes.
Go be in this day. For real. So
All
right, Harry. Tomorrow, y'all, I've got Lieutenant Governor Susan Bicewicz on. He's my guest tomorrow. at 10:15. We're gonna talk about everything that's going on in Connecticut. And I think, tomorrow and Saturday are the last tax-free days, people. So get your shop on. And then she's gonna come and talk about just what's going on. So I'm excited to talk to her. She's a fan of this show. I'm a fan of her. So we'll see her. We'll see her tomorrow, 10:15. Lieutenant Beisowitz, our guest tomorrow, Harry.
Oh, I like her.
I do too. So, and she's got COVID, so she's at the house. She at the house, like, oh God, I need to get out the house and go to work, but she can't. She got to do the, I think everybody in the top Connecticut legislature has COVID. The governor, the lieutenant governor, the treasurer, the Harry, you and I are the only ones that don't have COVID.
It happens.
We don't have COVID. All right, we'll march through this. We'll do what we could do.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird, right, Babz? You and I are probably on the top of their list of people at risk. And not to jinx myself, let me knock on wood here. But we're doing good.
We're doing well, Harry. We've not had any COVID.
So,
none.
I mean, what does that mean? It means nothing because we're not scientists or doctors.
I know, right? Although I got the text about the second booster, so they were like, "You're in that group." I was like, "I know."
I also have been reading the reports coming out of the federal judge, I think in Pennsylvania, ordered Pfizer to release some of their stuff, which doesn't give you much confidence in the company itself, but you gotta trust, I guess, your CDC. So, I guess I'm gonna get it.
Listen, Harry. Well, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to stay alive, and I don't want to be in the hospital. That's just it for me. I don't want to be intubated because I've been intubated. I don't want to.
Let's go with that. Do whatever it takes to stay alive.
Stay alive. I was thinking about this the other day, Harris. I was somewhere and I was like, if a simple mask will save your life, why wouldn't you just if a mask is the thing standing between you and death? Why not?
Well, you could apply that to so many things, though, right? So,
yeah,
I was watching one of the witnesses from the subway shooting in New York, and she said, "I've been in terror for the last few years. There's no police anymore in the subway system, and everything." She said, "I got to think about my life. That's it. I'm done using the subway system." So she's applying that to the subway system.
Well, I mean, you know what, Harry? If we're gonna have a subway system, then we need to make it the best subway system that we can. Like, we can't shortcut this, right? Because I've been hearing, the subway crimes are up and rapes and I mean,
yeah, and then no cops, the cameras ain't working.
I'm like, come on. You can't just be hoping stuff won't happen. That's not a policy. Hope is not a policy.
I don't know if they have tokens anymore. Do they have tokens?
I don't think they do, Harry. I think you've got to.
Because when you go buy your card or your token, the guy shouldn't tell you good luck as he's giving you the card. So I hope you get where you're going.
Oh, Harry, that does not give me
right. And if you listen to the guy who actually shot up the train, one of his rants was, "I'm tired of taking the trains with homeless people. I ain't got nowhere to sit."
Don't blame that on homeless people.
No, I know, but
I know what you're saying. I know he's like, I'm just fed up. I'm just fed up with the uncaringness of the world.
You gotta wonder, for people like that who are on edge, mentally on edge, what's the straw? And it may have been.
Harry, that's for all of us.
That's true.
What?
But when you,
What is the straw for? And what is the weight of the straw for all of us, Harry?
for all of us, but when
For
you're
all of
mentally
us.
ill,
I know.
God help us.
I would take a pass on the subway for a little bit too, Harry. But then there are people who there's no other way to get around.
Yeah, but did you see what happened when they had to close that train station and everybody started calling Ubers? Uber price gouged them.
Oh God.
they started overcharging, and now it just came out that
why can't these people act in good faith, Harry?
know, it's like
Why does everybody got to take advantage of a bad situation? Why can't they just be like, you know what? Maybe for this time we will lower the prices because we know people have to get to work and they are afraid, and we don't want to add to their woes. Why can't they think like that?
No, they said, oh, they're running from bullets. 50% up. 50%.
It's gonna cost you.
Yeah, it's like what?
It's gonna cost you running from those.
I mean, you can't make it up. This is why I have no faith in nobody, because it's like
Harry, I know, I still have a little bit of faith, Harry. Like I still, not much, but the mustard seed of faith I still have, Harry. The mustard seed of faith.
And you know, the weird thing is, if you look, I get obsessed with things. So I was looking at the video over and over of the subway stuff, shooting and everything. So you see certain people where everything's happening around them and they don't know what's happening around them.
Yeah, that's scary right there, Harry.
Yeah,
I don't like those people.
Yeah, you had this young man sitting there with everybody running, but he was listening to his music or whatever.
He had no idea all the way out.
And then when people started getting off the train, and some of them threw themselves on the floor because they were shot, there was this guy just leaning up against one of the beams, also listening to stuff, and everybody's running around, and he stood there. He's like, I'm like, what's going on? But I think you teach yourself how to be oblivious to the world around you.
That's exactly it. Because you know what, Harry? You see so much foolishness. You don't want to be a part of it. You try to be as inconspicuous as you can, almost like invisible.
Yeah. Yeah. And you figure the world won't touch me if I don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, no, the world will touch you and you won't see it coming.
Yeah. And it was
like you could have just stepped out the way and you caught a bad one because you wasn't paying attention. Oh, that's too much to think about, Harry. Seriously. Ooh, that's heavy.
It's crazy.
There you go, Harry, leaving us with something heavy all the damn time. Didn't you just get some Enroue?
And the funny thing is that I've always tried to live in that oblivion. But
can't.
I'm hyper alert, so I can't live there, right? So my peripheral vision is way better than my, straight ahead vision. I'm seeing everything that's happening on my sides, and I'm hearing stuff happening 30 feet behind me. So I can't. I tried. Okay. We have the PSA coming up.
All right, I'm out. I'll see y'all.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow. Play our PSAs.
All right.
See you later, Harry.
Even in strange times, I'll find my strength. Even when down, I'll stand tall. Do you love me? You don't belong. Sometimes